nhớ trong thấy trong này chỉ có tiếng Anh trong một chùa nhớ luôn trong Minneapolis thiên nhớ trong sân rộng tại luôn trong Minneapolis rồi bây giờ chúng sẽ đợi mình nhớ họ từ là bây giờที่trong phong thiên nhưng nhớ ok cho kiến năng kế trả kế cứ kế ti lúc nào giờ có program luôn tại luôn trong Minneapolis thiên mong radio broadcast WIXK ý chí cho số tiềnเราchẳng tiền để tiền cái lúc sống chùa nhớ đó họ luôn trong Saint Paul họ program lúc nào giờ cũ luôn trong Minneapolis hãy chốt trong bây giờ cái tiếng Anh nhớ luôn trong Minneapolisอีพอจะใหญ่ยศฐานหุ่นน้อยฐานจะหมดตัวจะติดจานยาลุ่นตรงมินนิอาโพลิสถ้าสิเตมาตีจอลูไปสิฐานหุ่นน้อยกูจงสีเทียกูป้าเต่าเนี่ยจีก็ติดจานยาเราสั้นเต่าเนี่ยจะก็ติดจานตัวยาเดียเนี่ยเขาหมดก็ติดจานยาลุ่นตรงมินนิอาโพลิสแล้วเขาจิตน้อยจอลูสหัวจวนหุ่นน้อยไปสิฐานหรอตอนนี้มันเขียนตัวเราเทียหุ่นน้อยไปสิฐานเจ้าหายเดียเกี่ยตู้จังสืบป้าไปเราไม่ไปสั่งยาลุ่นตรงมินนิอาโพลิสจงเลยจ่าเทียหรือยาว่าเกี่ยป้าตัวอยู่เจนังhọ chỉต้องการก็มัวตัวจังสือตัวนั่นนี่ยอดจงเลยจ้ะยอดยอดเราเขาส่วนตัวนั่นยอด Office of Performance to Innovation รู้ใช่ว่าเขาหรือ Office of Performance to Innovation อ๋อตัวว่าเขาหรือตัวเขาหรือว่าเก่งยอดรุ่นตรง Minneapolis ยอดจีน่าที่เทเลนก็ยอดตัวชิธาส่วนตัวนั่นตัวกูถ้าเราจงมุ่งเสด็จป้าหัดเดียมรู้ใช่หางตัดสินนั่นเกี่ยอยู่ว่าหายจากตัวจังสือตัวป้าอยู่ไอ้กูแต่เราเก็บป้าอยู่สาเตาเก็บป้าแต่อยู่เช่นนั้นหลอนแต่ลุ่นจงที่หนอจืดแต่สิหอจีอ่ะต้องการกับตำรวจตัวนั้นเก็บป้าตัวจงอยากเทียนนะเดี๋ยวขอหน่อยขอไปอยู่ชิฐานทุกน้องเดี๋ยวพอตาก็ได้ฐานแล้วตัวพงยูจีน่าเทียเทเลนก็ย่อว่าเขาเรียนตัวกูเก่งย่อลุ่นจงเป็นเนี่ยplus ตัวมัวนี้เอามีย่อตัวโซ่ก็จวนย่อตัวป้าใช้ลูกย่อลูกกูยันนุ่งก็จะอยู่กูอยู่ไฮวันลูกอังกฤษแล้วยันลูกอเมริกาต่อการแต่เลยกูมาใช้วันลูกมงยังก็มาเต้จะลุงเวลุนนู่ตามแต่เราในใจตัวมัวเดี๋ยวมีหนึ่งมาใช้จะลุงเราตัวเป็นลุงไอ้กูให้เอาไปเราลองกี่กันในเทเลอีเชนนี่ฮะเอาลองกี่จงเราในเทปเอาเดี๋ยวขอนู่นเราไปชิฐานย่อลูกเขาโปรแกรมก็รุ่นจงเป็นเนี่ยประสิทธิ์จังย่อลูกเขาเพียรยาชี We are talking about public safety beyond policing in Minneapolis. We know that this is a very important topic to many of our listeners. If you ever had something stolen, property damaged, or need help in an emergency, you need to know how to get help. Còn giờ thì cái nhớ hậu luôn trong Minneapolis của cái xã tàu cái ba thôn tàu tôi chẳng xử là nếu giờ ít họ chỉnh chẳng hành tròn này sẽ rồi thiết rồi bê sẽ rồi ấy giờ thì bị giữ thì cóแต่ว่ามัวตู้ชาตัวนี้ก็คงว่าคงเจเราแล้วตัวจงว่าจงเจเราอย่างเดียวมัวแต่ขออยู่สาตัวพอชีแห่งอยู่สาตัวเก็บป้าใช้หรือใช้เตาเนาะก็อยู่จู่เตาเป้าอย่าตื่นที่เลยลำบากตัวอยู่เช่นนั้นนะเห็นแต่เราในเจ้าเนี่ยว่าจีกุลไปหัวไมเคิลยันสิงยาว่าเขาหลีกตัวรุ่นตรงนี้plus รู้เชื่อว่าเขาหลีกหัว neighborhood community relations department กูอยากตัวเชื่อใจตรงมองบลอยยาลาขมิ้นเทครันเนี่ยเราเขากูรู้ส่วนการรู้เชื่อว่าเขาหลีกI'd like to start by asking our guests today, Taylor and Gina, to introduce yourself on air, and then we can move from there. So let's start with Gina. If you could introduce yourself. Gina, Taylor, and Galamu, Kia, all the Kenya, Lang Thirty, and go a whole little 30, a 1 day baby, the Taylor, we are new on that. Teaching your color, India, then Janet Zikatin Chaya, Bishi Tata, what you are not a young two. นี่เขาไม่รู้นู่นนะเจนี่หูกูต้องต้องต่อแต่โดยจะเจ้าอีอเปอชาออีเปซุนเจ้าอีอเปอชาออีเปซุนนี่หูดอนด่าสต้องจัวเจ้าชีอีชาชาอจัวจัวจัวจัวเจ้าชีอีชาชาอจัวจัวจัวจัวว่าเจ้าGina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for having us here today. My name is Gina O'Beery, and I'm a program manager in the Office of Performance and Innovation at the City of Minneapolis.
有上天，我想啊，Michael ก็หาตัวเจอไปตัวเทียที่ตอนนี้เทียนเราก็ล้มไปหัวGina O'Beery เทียอยากคุยตัวนึงว่าเขาหรือยังเราต่อแล้วลงการ performance เทีย innovation แต่ยังเราล้นช่องMinneapolis.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Michael, for being here and Naomi for translating. My name is Taylor Crouch Dotson, and I am Gina's colleague at the City of Minneapolis. Thank you.
我晓得Michael ก็ตัวเจอไปตัวเราตัวมองชาลูเดี๋ยวมีเทียกูเราคุยตัวนี้ว่าเขาหลุดจากจีนเนี่ยเขาล้มกันเขารู้ว่าช่องระยะเดียวเขาล้มช่องMinneapolisเทียว่าเช่า
เนี่ยมีเทียกับตัวคิงตัวเป้จงลงเฉลยสูบจุดเทีย
ยังจงแต่เราก็ล้มไปคนเรามีเสียงยาคุยตัวมองชาลู Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Naomi Yang. I'm the Hmong interpreter.
我做了年纪个的人家是到北路的一个弄个养中的，因此也得你莫路弄的胡了胡了到呢，都是东不到古莫中呢也找一二北二下二一北送找一二北二下二一北送。Taylor, this first question goes to you. Taylor, why is the city of Minneapolis rethinking the traditional approach to public safety? Ya vì gia luôn trong Minneapolis thiết lý là mua cái tạo chú ý chia ba đầu cho cái ý chủ sĩ tu chẳng sự là một cho sang chùa cái nó có hợp hồ thế cái sẽ đầu làm bị sinh nhau luôn trong Minneapolis.
Thank you, Michael. We know that community has demanded the way that we provide public safety services for a long time. Actually, for decades, we have heard community members continuing to ask for change, demanding change. And in particular, we know that people of color throughout Minneapolis are harmed on an ongoing basis by services or armed individuals who are coming in trying to maybe solve an issue, but most of the times we are ending up seeing really horrendous situations in which things are being escalated. And so we have been working since 2019, actually, per the request of City Council, to come in and actually research and implement new ways that the city can provide public safety services to residents. We're really excited about sharing more about those programs with you today.
我昨天Michaelก็เรานุ่งก็ยังเรารู้จังแจ้งแห่งยังเราเนาะว่าตอนเดียวเราไม่เป็นสิ่งแล้วก็สาต้องการจะเกิดลงเปล่าเที่ยวจะเกิดจีจ่าอีจะใจเชี่ยเราหมู่บ้านเดี๋ยวเราไม่เป็นสิ่งแสดง到听วิลินเดอร์เวียที่ไปเป้าเดี๋ยวเขาไปรุ่นจงเนาะมันเราเดี๋ยวนึงเราไม่เป็นสิ่งว่าจังไกจะเตอเที่ยวอย่างว่าจีเนาะเลยเที่ยวเดี๋ยวนึงเนาะแสดง到เจเจ้าที่ไม่จนเลยเจอเดี๋ยวเมื่อตัวนึงgặp họ lo lấy chuyện gặp họ lấy giờ tôi chính sự một do mỗi tên mình nhớ rồi chuyện năng lấy giờ thì mỗi tên mình thành tài thành thì thuận đỡ lời chỉ giờ thì lấy muốn rồi tên mình ở giờ tôi cho chị trời họ là một và tôi thấy giờ và cô phật sĩ rồi giờ là mấy cái sinh hoạt từ thiê như vậy nên tới chị nhớ rồi họ tiền lời giờ bắt thằng nhớ rồi tiền lúc ròn đỡ lúc tôi là một thọ bé là mộtสภาพเราช่วยจะตื่นเที่ยเช่ไปหอยมว่ารู้จีดีดีจ้าเราหมู่ป้าเลยจีจ่าอีจะใจเชี่ยเที่ยยี่วันนี้เดอไปเที่ยวเลยเดอเราหมู่有เราหมู่สอนจะชัวจะขนาดเที่ยไปรงเชี่ยเที่ยไปกู้รงเชี่ยว่า有ฐานส่วนจีจะนักขนาดหมู่เที่ยอีกก็จะเราไม่ไปสิ่งสตูนะคะโอ้โหเที่ยจิ๋มว่าเก็บภาษีได้จี
Gina, what are the new public safety programs that the Minneapolis community should know about? Gina, hãy cho cái program là cái ban nhà luôn trong Minneapolis để cho làm mấy sinh yêu chủ bao giờ cho program trong lịch là cái ban trong lịch.
Thank you, Michael. So we have three pilot programs related to mental health emergencies. Let's start with the first, let's start with the new first responder program that we have available in Minneapolis, which is the Behavioral Crisis Response, also known as the BCR. And that's a mobile crisis intervention program that will send an armed, highly trained, non-police response to mental health crisis 911 calls. And the goal of that program is to provide empathetic care and avoid forcing people to go to the hospital or to be arrested. The second pilot that we have is connected to that new program, and that is providing 911 staff with additional and specialized mental health dispatch training. And we want to really make sure that our 911 dispatchers are supported so that they can send the right calls to the BCR. And then the last mental health pilot that we're working on at this moment is currently in development and should be available later this year. And we'll be placing mental health providers on the floor of 911 to assist them with those mental health emergency calls when they come in. And that's to try to give people who are calling into 911 some support before the actual response arrives. And would you like me to keep going or take a break for interpretation? Keep going? Okay. So then we have two pilots related to reporting non-emergency issues to the city. And both of those really aim to free up 911 and police time so that they can respond and take more urgent calls. And that first one is that if you do experience a nonviolent theft or property damage in Minneapolis and need to file a police report, you can now call 311 or to complete your report over the phone, or you can go to the 311 webpage to be able to submit that report online. Then that second program is also in the planning stages, and it involves sending out a non-police city employee to take those reports from community members in person, because we know that it's easier for some people to be able to provide that information in person, and we want to give an option for that as well.
我晓得啊，个哈侬鼓励个，还这给把酒啊，不要去查，你那的呢，要被莫考的，出生要的，了木点着的名，因为的了呢，这给你写了要，的要是那天，你那的要的了莫，可能的了木去查了个 behavior crisis response 了要的，甚至莫的名了去，哎了有了木，把酒真的可能。lỡ mua khả năng chứ là mua thả ra khỏi MHE là do thì là sẽ cái bác chữa nhắc nó trong nạp lý nó của giờ thầu này thu cho ý các một trong nó là gì là do là mua thiệt chúng nên là do tiền chúng nên là mà truy sinh chứ mà cỡ tiền họ là mua trời cho tới mình nó là như chỉ tôi chính sử thiên thì chỉ một họ nó này tới mà nửa giờ tôi nên của cỡ tiền cho nó khỏi lần cho nên giờ tới mình cho nó khỏi tới mình của này tàu mua nhá nó tàu thiên khó thì là đây nó mua chỉ bây giờ mua thầu này hồ sơ tung chơi ý là nó lúc không cần lấy cho tiền khỏi chờ lo là bây giờ mua nên nhá nó tàu của cỡ tiền cho nó sẽ kể là muốn giờ tới mình là nó của lấy ba chẳng thay lấy giờ tôi thay là một tên này giờ sẽ tung thầu mua tới mình khó xí của này tàu hồ tua thiên cho nó là nhớ nó tàu thiên là ba là muốn chia cho nên của lấy một ba nên giờ này giờ tới mình nó thiênส่วนสีเทียมว่าเขาก็ลูกก็ตรวจที่เป็นนั่นได้เนาะเขานำมาเป็นจึงจะตัดต่อยจีชาเทียซื้อเป็นจึงจีต่อเป้าแม่งเทียแต่ชีเขานำน้อยจีกูย่อเทียจงตอนเต้จะเชื่อทัศน์ย่อเทียต่อก้าย่อจงต้านำไปเป็นที่ในมาว่าเทียเจ้าหน่อลูกจะเก็บป้ายจวนแต่เนาะเขานำน้อยมาแล้วก็ย่อจนนิ่งว่าย่อเกิดเทียจะเก็บป้านจะเต้นแม่งsẽ kiến sau xia thì ở đây nó, và lấy cho họ nhớ đồng ở trên tương chạy và đây giờ tương thọ này hồi cho ý tôi là hậu thiên,ส่วนที่เทียบไปมั่วจะเก็บไปอยู่อันจะนักหนาเทียแล้วยอดเทียคอนหนาไปถาสลายเทียถอดตู้นี่หัวตัวช่วยอีว่ายอดเทียมาเต็มเลยชีจะหนาว่าเต็มเลยชีจะหนาว่าเทียจงว่าจงเจแล้วยอดเทียจงเจแล้วยอดในหัวเปอีตัวคอก็จั่วแก่เก็บไปอยู่แต่นอนนั่นหรอแล้วยังมั่วดาวอยากว่าจะเก็บป้าว่ายอดเทียเต็มเลยว่าจีมั่วเก็บพอชีวันนี้หัวโตหมู่วันนี้ไหนแต่จริงตัวเราตัวจริงสื่อจะหนักเต็มเลยจะขัดสัตว์เช่นแต่ละเตาแล้วยอดในการมาเราเขาไปอีเว็บเพจละเตาเทีย就当然的贴考，一个主人的，那么我呢，我被这给把主人的呢，我有一考我被这大的要去查贴，可能呢嘛被要去查，把着这贴的那没被信，这就讲呢我了弄中没那不灵。
Taylor, how did the city develop these pilot programs, and why did they choose to implement these particular alternatives? Hãy cho lúc trong Minneapolis, giờ vì lý do lúc trong Minneapolis thì chỉ có mua cho pilot programs là kế ba và vì nên có thể lên đó thì giờ vì lý do là thì họ implement là giờ là họ thì chỉ cho kế ba nó cho là một ba trong là mình phải sang đợi nó chạm được tôi chẳng sự.
So in order to answer this question, it's important for me to share a little bit of history. So as I mentioned, our team started working with city council and city departments in 2019, in which we were directed by council to research alternative responses to police and a variety of public safety issues. And during that research, we actually were speaking directly with residents. And it was also during the same time in which we were, as a collective, entering a pandemic. And so we were meeting with people either virtually or collecting information from folks from surveys and then other virtual meetings. We received over 8,000 survey responses and analyzed over 23,000 open-ended responses. And at the end of our analysis, we understood directly from community that about what they wanted to see, how they wanted it designed, and we worked with departments in order to get to those programs that Gina just talked about today.
Oni nó thiếu ở đây quý thả trong tí cho các là lúc con thì quý thả cho thì kiến cử lò lý trà biết thiết đầu mua khó chỉ trà cho nó là cho cũng phải chơi chia nó thiếu giờ khó chỉ kiến cha yêu quý thả cho thì trong áp phải của chưa yêu lúc sẽ hở của bên trong là chỉ bắt thả nhớ đầu tỏ luôn trong mình đẹp tí là có thả thiếu biết họ là mù nhớ đầu biết lúc không cả biết thì là mù nông nghĩ cho lù lấy cho thì là mùa sắp phát sẽ đầu thiết sẽ lợi cho kết quả trong cái đi chả thì cho làm mấy bé sinh lúc sẽ hậu thuần tới chỉ ta thầu mua tụ các món lo chỉ kỳ nó thông dây thông rõ thông thế chờ nó chỉ biết họ thông đó là ship thả xử lý thì hậu computer li nó ấy biết tao muốn ship thả chỉ đang tới biết con đó cho nên uổng nhóc hồ sò tao muốn ship thả chỉ sẽ tìm mua lấy cho thì là một sắp phát thế sẽ lợi cho cái sắp ở trong tận đây nó thế sẽ gửi cho đi chả thế cho họ tươi cho họ rong tan cho biết là một sập hai giờ gì phá lên như nó đần đỡ biết là một sai nền đầu bếp phá cho nên vừa hay lỡ tê thì lỡ tê chìm tê lỡ nền đầu bếp phá lên nên vừa là tao tê bây giờ lỡ sập phá là thia tao can đỡ biết thì đi tao bỏ tao là thia cho làm mấy bé sinh nhớ luôn trong nó tông cả chị lỡ sập bỏ ra chịแต่อยากรู้เนาะพี่ที่เราหมดจีจ้าช่วยอยากจะเรียกว่าจะเก็บไปอยู่จีน่าตัวเปียตลอดเนาะ
Switching back to Gina, Gina, who can receive these services and how do you access these services? 係真係有幾巴住呢？對對添，我分住因為我在到咗幾巴住呢，啲其他人到，你有冇貼嚟嚟貼嚟包啊？就幾巴住呢，要學對呢？
That's a great question, Michael, and really important for community members to know. So these services are available to anyone in Minneapolis who needs support with any of the issues that we've mentioned. If you're experiencing or witnessing a mental health crisis, you can call 911 and the BCR will be sent out if it's appropriate for them. And for those non-emergency issues like theft and property damage or parking issues, community members can complete a report by calling 311 or going to the city website or also downloading the 311 app onto their phone.
Olina thì Michael có lần nông có giấy là lựa chọn chăng thì chỉ ta này là cứ giấy hết khó chọn chăng cho làm mấy cái sinh nhớ luôn trong này lý thì dòng như vậy nên là nó sẽ kế bác chuỗi nhớ nó lấy từ ôi cho thì cho tôi này nhớ họ luôn trong mình đạp lý nó cũng có sai chạy là một thì sẽ kế bác chuỗi là nó ôi giờ thì là thứ có tàu bỏ lấy cái thứ là thảo bỏ tàu là tiền một cái sản sinh là tàu chữ sĩ lấy cho tiền cho cái nhớ xe là có tục khen lấy cho tiếng mình đã chỉ chữa chuột cho con nào sau khi đấy hồ tô cho ý thằng đầu tiên là thuốc BCR rồi mà đi là một tê cái là đầu tiên chỉ cái bài chữa cho con chỉ ta lên đầu tiên tê dạo rồi chứ thì chúng mà cái bác sĩ đã chỉ lo vì từ liên thì trong chế lo liên thì trong chế lo tê dạo ôn rồi nó này chị nên các một cho họ là họ PI là do chị nó cần đầu PI là do các một họ website ấy cái là một chứng tử nó họ theo ôn này đang đợi cho họ là tàu theo.
Taylor, as you mentioned, people's mental health is very important and part of the community's public safety. What is what is a surprising fact about mental health you've learned during this work, or should I say, what are the key factors about mental health that you learn about the community during this work? Hay cho hay mental health cho kỹ nhau share trong đầu tụi tin năng lưu triển khai đại tới quần mình lúc xưa ở bên mua cho tăng bằng chữ xin đầu dạng hay cho kỹ nó có học cụ nhân trong cho我好理到一个了就出报道还的你要一呀真正个个叫我还做好真嘅就係做呢係做咁能做幾樣事路時候個我個就好亂啦要啦去。
Thanks, Michael. As I mentioned, there was a lot of data and information that we gathered throughout our research, but there's one particular question that we kind of have gone back to as one that really stood out to me. And that question was, instead of police, who would you like to respond when you're experiencing or witnessing a mental health crisis? And we provided a number of different options to people, but the responses that we received were very clear from community. 95% of respondents wanted a mental health professional or a social worker to respond when they were in crisis, which means only 5% wanted any kind of police involvement in that situation. We feel that that 95% response rate is really important because for us, it was a direct call from community to say, go make this happen. We want this, it's important, and this is who we want when we're in need and when we're in crisis. And so it was a clear call to action for our team. And I'm proud and humbled to say that we were able to really make that a reality and launch the behavioral crisis response team based in that request from community.
我就Michael，你弄的呢，了弄头我别弄就那么别生错那错度，我头别那么啥怕了，我一了弄我เลย还有我的古经了要点情况古些了这单呢，了弄的要弄一点。ดูเลยเนอะตู้จริงสิเลยก็สาต้องการนี่คือถูรู้เชื่อก็มาเก็บเป็นเหม่งเลยอ่ะมาเก็บพอชีแล้วรู้น้องน้อเป็นจอนตอนดอเล่งตอนดอตู่เนี่ยตอนเดือวัวที่เชื่อเลยต้องการนี่คือตัวเนี่ยตอนเดือนอเดี๋ยวเราไม่ไปสิ่งเลยฉันเดือกูต่อเตะเทียจู่จู่ชี้สิ่งปัวเลยให้เตียเลยสาต้องการตัวหนึ่งวัวชี้สิ่งเกิดเตียจะเกี่ยวเชื่อแล้วยอดเตียนเดือดได้เหม่งแล้วยอดเตียอีตู้โชว์ว่าเกิดchỉ vĩnh bùa do cho tôi nên ủa là tao một tí hạt tiệt là tôi cái thứ chi sự tôi cho là để cái mình lấy cho tôi ba là muốn là hay tiệt còn nó có giờ tiệt chưa cho chỉ vĩnh bùa do tôi number lo hình ủa có kia to tiệt họ biết là một sập ha là ủa lấy tôi cái thứ nên chỉ sinh cái tiệt dân cho nó cái ủa cho nó trở cái nhau share là do so share là do tiệt cho tên mình cho lúc sau ủa thọ là tao mộtต้องการจะเก็บป้าจุเนี่ยเราเดินอย่างยี่ปีนี้นะเดินกูแค่ตัวเราไปเราหาเดียปอตัวเต็มแม่งแค่เชิงหาเดียเขาจริงจริงใช่เนี่ยเราเดียไปเดียแม่งว่าไปเอาเขาหรือโอเคเนาะว่าไปเอาว่าจันทร์ลีจะแล้วไม่ไปสิ่งเตาทองที่เราอยากต้องการที่อยากตรงนี้เนาะกูอยากให้คอว่าเรากูต้องเชื่อแห่งว่าเนี่ยเราไปป้าเปิ้ลนั่งว่าเขาหรือเลยจะเดียเนี่ยเราลงการเนาะไปที่จะเราโมจีชาป้าเปิ้ลนั่งว่าเดีย behavior crisis response team ที่เอคอนเนาะก็ยังขอว่าไปยาลโมจีชาป้าเปิ้ลนั่งเนาะยาลโมป้าจะแล้วไม่เป็นสิ่งส่วนนึงจะตัวว่าทารุชาหรือเจ้าเก๋จะใหญ่เลยจะเดียแล้วมาเต็มเหม่งเนี่ยจะโหเลยตัวเข่ง
Gina, how can community members learn more about this work? 还做给有木须里家、铁里家诶，种能识到，那没被省识到，ที่里包着ว่าจะเก็บป้าเนาะนะที่จะเขาหลืนเนาะนะแล้วโยลิจาเลยที่ลินเทียตัวจะเก็บป้าเนาะที่ลิป้าจะเขาหลืนเนาะจงจ้ะ
Thank you, Michael. So we are very excited to announce that our office will actually be launching a public safety awareness campaign this month, so that community can learn more about the programs that we talked about today. We hope that the campaign will help community to learn more about their options and to build trust and make sure that they're getting the right response when they're in need. So be sure to follow the city of Minneapolis on all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Nextdoor to see the content and to share with your friends. And I'd just like to add that we are so appreciative and thankful for all the community members who have asked questions, who did the survey, who continue to be interested, and for you all letting us come on the show and share our work.
โอลีนอเทียให้สนับสนุนลูกลีนอ ที่เป็นภาษาเยอรมันชาเตอร์ที่เราโมเคลียข้อกงกาป้าชื่อเซงที่เราโมเดียคือเราจะเล่าไม่เป็นสิ่งสุรินทร์ตูจะน่าจะเก็บไปอยู่โอไปอยู่จีจานเราโมเราตันเดนเทียคนน้องก็ย่อยข้อว่าไปว่าที่จะเชียให้เดียข้อกงกาไปอยู่เราโมเคลียนจอจะเล่าไม่เป็นสิ่งก็เราป้าก็จะให้เดียแล้วจะเก็บไปอยู่ได้จีตันเดนมาแต่ได้จีชื่อชีน่าเราก็เราป้าก็เดียไปอยู่มั่วจะเก็บไปลีจ่าจอเลยนี่เราแต่น้องจะขั้นจงเดียเราโมเจอนู่นตรง Minneapolis เทียนี่เราเฟซแล้วยอดเดียนี่เรา Instagram แล้วยอด Twitter แล้วยอดเดีย next door เทียไปว่าที่จะเชียเทียนี่เราโมเกิดจากที่นั่นเนาะเทียปุ๊บจากที่นั่นเนาะเทียนี่ที่พวกนี้ที่จริงที่จะช่วยตัวดูจะตอนนี้เนาะเทียกูสมัยเราลุ้นดีเราก็เนาะโอ้ยเดี๋ยวสาวเช่าตอนนี้เราเชื่อใจยังเช่าเราช่วยตัวดูแต่เราโมนงมัวลุ้นนงเช่าเราช่วยตัวดูแต่เราบังกงเตเราโมเตไปจะรู้ว่าไปตัวเราโมสับผ้า我说的是的，我到末了时候，人家我这了么弄做的，在那可能天气生差，要我说你怎么了时候就被人家那些他人然后那天。
Gina, a follow-up question for you. You mentioned about the public safety awareness campaign that will start this month. Can you briefly share with us what that entails and what is that about? ก็ถามมันจีจ้าเดียนลูกลีนะยปีเขา public safety awareness campaign เขาก็ถามมันจีใช้เขา campaign ในยามชีเทียนหนึ่งพอ我有我都没什么讲
So I'm actually going to pass this question to Taylor because he's done a ton of work on the awareness campaign and let him share with you all.
Yeah, so we will, towards the end of this month, start posting. It will be videos, photos, and just a variety of different information will be going out via social media will be the first part. So the City of Minneapolis social media channels, which is why we encourage folks to follow those channels now. But it'll be a variety of basically informational videos about what do these programs look like, how do I use them, who is actually providing those services, and it'll kind of be a behind the scenes look at this information, as well as hearing directly from folks who have received these services to understand what's the impact and how does it really change people's interaction with government, and also being able to improve their lives and be able to move beyond crisis and into a more stable environment. So it's going to be kind of a multi-month project. Our first kind of launch will be happening later this month, and then it will be building up into a variety of different events that will go into this summer. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about it, but that's kind of the overview, and we're excited to kind of get that started this month.
วันนี้เนาะที่ให้สนุกเนาะเจกูจะเจอเฉลยที่เราถามมีจีจ้าเนาะมีนี่ก็ตัวเจ้าเต๋เนี่ยเราแต่เนาะที่ให้สนุกว่าเขาคงการไปอย่างเรามุขเขียนแต่เนาะนะเจย่อๆที่ทะลุลีต้าเนาะวิวัฒน์ที่จะเชื่อที่ไปอย่างเรามุตีอีจอยังอยากเกี่ยถาสเนาะเพี้ยนเราเนาะยันดัวเนี่ยเราแต่เนาะไปอย่างเรามุขเขียนจะอะไรที่ไปจะเก็บไปอยู่ย่อๆเลยจ้าที่ว่าที่จะเชื่อที่นี่เฉลยเรามุเจอเรารู้สิริMinneapolis channel แล้วจะใช้เรารู้ทีวีเดอร์เคลียร์สลายเดียไปจะเก็บไปอยู่ที่ลิจาอยู่มั่วยังเคลียร์เติร์ดสลายเดียอยู่ชี้จะเก็บไปอยู่นาฬิกาลิงก์ที่อยู่จะนิ่งอวยลงป้าในเทียจิตตาลินเดอร์ยังเราเนาะเทียบอยู่มั่วเดี๋ยวเราไม่เป็นสิ่งอวดตัวชี้จะเก็บไปอยู่เนาะเลยเราหมดตั้งเราจะรู้เช่เดียเท่าเราตัวใจจะเก็บไปอยู่เนาะในโรงลิจาเทียนเจอที่หนึ่งเท่าตาลิจาเลยเทียเลยเชื่อเลยจะหมดตั้งเราจะรู้ให้เดียจะเก็บไปอยู่เนาะตอนลงเปาเรารู้นั่งลิจาชีตาลินเดอร์เทียอยู่เลยเราหมดตั้งรู้ให้เดียแล้วจะเก็บไปอยู่เราเนาะชื่อกูตัวป้าเลยลิจาเทียหลงจีจาลิจาเนี่ยจะหอรู้นั่งเลยเดียป้าเลยเดอร์เลยเต็มหนึ่งเลยเรารู้นั่งเทียที่อย่างนี้เนาะกูย้อยเขาว่าไปตัวปอตัวเดียคนนั้นย้อยเขาไปจอเติร์ดโตจะแล้วไม่เป็นสิ่งส่วนนี้จะถือตัวใช้ที่เกิดเกิดจอที่เราเป้าจอเดียเป็นจะเก็บไปอยู่เนาะอยู่มองลงเป้าโตลิจาโรลิยาตันเดเขาว่าลูกลีเนาะอยู่ตาเนาะไม่ว่าที่จะเชื่อเดียอยู่มัวที่เอาไปจอเติร์ดเนาะมัวจอเดียรู้ใจดูชอจอจงนอเทียไปถามจริงๆจะเอาเดียไปจะเก็บคงกาไปอยากเขียนจุลูกลีเนาะเนื้อข้อจงลิจา
Thank you, Gina and Taylor, for taking your busy time and come on radio and share very, very critical information with our listeners. Greatly appreciate your time and the good work that you guys are doing with the Office of Performance and Innovations. Thank you for coming up, and looking forward in the future for you guys to come back and share some more information, because public safety is a key in the Hmong community in the city of Minneapolis. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. 我做到 Gina 的 Taylor 个我多的时候就那种多谈到时候就那还早一条路真正个给人路中面不是被说的，其他人我找到多么你要米个是多的时候就那 every single time 出错上个多才路的时候就到路中面不是的 program 也一好 very professional 了也一好我不能理解不了我找到那是的 Thank you so much. Thank you. 但你这个等于主要是到边嘛，当新机一变了，后边那提到改变弄一ra ya说大家有每一条路差到好龙中 Minneapolis 多么重要，你这个等于查呀龙中 Minneapolis 个你到哪到包，你提领把到你钱个鸟个鸟鸟生到龙中 Minneapolis 到一边呢。
tua lỡ có nhỏ khó tư cú bư chỉ tao trên gió gió ư to kê xì lù của cha chỉ nó có sợ sợ lo có tư trên gió lời lo gió có mùa đua lửa tu thầu nu chia lu xia bồng thao thì cho cả lu plơ yan chi vì còn dây cũ mù lợn đau ri tu na tu lỡ chỉ bỏ có lo trên nhỏ to niềm mò nhỏ to có vua trọ lo lu xia bồng thao thì cho cả lu plơ yan chi vì còn dây cũ mù lợn đau ri đủ na tu lỡ chỉ bỏ có lo cú trên nhỏ to niềm mò nhỏ to có vua trọ lo
nhớ rằng在中年这个等下就冇得出来的讨论中 Minneapolis 个论被我 Michael 也生呀我后来讨论中 Minneapolis 好像我后来我 neighborhood community relations department กู也都是这样蒙不了呀啦他们这个人然后กูรู้เธอ我后来เขาเนี่ยอีกข้อ program จะชัวรู้หลีมั่วจ้าจอดมง radio broadcast WIXK อีกที่ตัวโซน AM ไปตัวจอสูงหัวจุดถ้าจอดกินนอกก้าวหูกินย่อจอลุ่นจง Minneapolis ชัวจะชัวยาอีหลีตัวมั่วจ้าพอตาไปชิดถ้าจอจีน่ะที่เราเทเลนก็ให้ซ้อให้เดียเกี่ยชีเกี่ยเทียเกี่ยป้านอกจากเราจะเด็ดทองแต่ตู้จังสื่อในหนึ่งเขามั่วหรืออยากเกี่ยป้าจุดชวนหล่อเขาลุ่นจง Minneapolis ตัวจะไปเราไม่ไปสิ่งจงยาเลยจีนี่ก็นอนเลยcho lũ quý muốn cho tờ thiệt này cho nhiều gì nó nếu mà bên lũ ngày lũ chẳng chẳng chụp lời họ thì ý thiệt cho thì tụi cam mò covid của chùa nó nếu cho họ từ lời thiệt luôn trong Minneapolis theo lúc sinh Minnesota cho cái tí thái là bị sinh ở trong nhà là chỉ đoàn nu Monday lưu ý lý tí bây giờ ý nó gì cho ý phần bùa cho nên chỉ xong theo một nước trong cha nhau luôn trong Minneapolis nhưng tàu cha ý giả sử xua ý công chua đời cho chua tí thái tất cả món nó là họ tận họ lúc sinh Minnesota chỉ do xa cho 8.6%. Khi lên đó này cho cái tin anh cha thì cho nên cũng sát chua trong cơ li lại là một tí thái tất cả món nóแต่สิ่งนี้เขารู้สึกมินนิโซตานอนนี่กูว่าเตะหายนั่งนี่กูอยากจะนั่งกูชาเจอตัวเตะหายเทียซื้อลีจะมีการจะมีนั่งอินเดียแล้วเนี่ยเขาจะชี้จัว%ซื้อจะนั่งดูอยากจะจะชี้0.8%จะนั่ง Hispanic อยากจะจะ0.5%จะนั่งดาวหนึ่งถึงยี่หมดจะจัว0.2%แต่สิ่งจะนั่งว่าชัดชัวจงจะเปล่าgiờ gì cho blow 0.6% giờ bây giờ nên tới đa là giờ thì Asian Pacific Islander residents nhớ họ luôn trong Minneapolis cái cha cho chuột đi Thái nó này giờ họ dùng chấp blow là một đi Thái tụi cam mo Omicron như là một chỉ cho tụi COVID của chúa này khi lên tới trong này,แต่สิ่งนั้นตụi cam mo chẳng chế Omicron nên nếu mà nó thì là ví dụ chúa phần của infection là giờ thì cái cam mo nhớ họ region G và lúc sinh Minnesota giờ nhớ đó họ region G đã lúc tới chơi America nó giờ chúa phần của cho infection là giờ cái mo giờ lòn để tụi cam mo chẳng chế Omicron khi lên tới trong này cho nên chỉ có thể đánh trả nhớ đó bên luôn trong Minneapolis bây giờ luôn trong của mua kỳ mò tụ cam mò COVID của chúa nó tàu chấp bờ li nè khi lên tới trong này gì bùa cases là giờ thì gì bùa kỳ mò gì bùa nè gì bùa kỳ cam mò tàu inu từ nè trong xa nút đồ là gì bùa tụ cam mò kỳ nó giờ tàu inu sự thì họ nó khi tàu được tiền nhớ luôn trong Minneapolis này kỳ cam mò chẳng chấp bờ thiết tàu chấp bờ li nè họ lúc sinh Minnesota là ít bộ phá lên năng gì nhưng giờ ít bộ trâu cho point trâu cases là giờ cho năng kỳ cam mò nhớ họ luôn trong Minneapolis giờ ít bộ cầu gì point blow percent to ít bộ phá lên năng khi lên cho nên chỉ là luôn trong Minneapolis kỳ cam mò sai thì trong cái kia lên sai cái kia thì lúc sinh Minnesota cái sự rồi cho si有主long路慢慢很久很久的了要得个都擦出这个擦出的就擦出来了个有主马路个你包个很久很久天好像差不多有主擦出的了还领导着你叫牛子你叫你都没牛啊来一样个哩要为领导路里大头老了都尊重也好尊重 Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry ที่里到着一家在到车还得是错路给了路nhớ họ luôn trong Minneapolis của mua rau món nó thì mua để cho hậu nè nhớ đó hậu là lúc chơi là lúa lợi do chủ của có cho nên ở giống cả tụi một hậu do chủ mua lợi đại bát là lợi đại car hay tiền lợi từ một xã ở công chua là cho vào chua có sai là chuyện là thì cái chủ xã ở công mà thì tiền nó thì mà công ty y tại thì công ty ở họ ít sẽ chua mà xã y công sự chạy nữa từ xã y công sự chạy nữa từ ta là cái chủ show cái đại car nó đồ lợi cái chủ mất kia đồ lợi lợi thì bù con cả giờ thì các chúng cái đại car nó thì cái chủ tàu kia đại result là giờ thì các họ thì bên nút đồ lợi cái thứ một qua cái chủ một cam mò con ai đến tận cho là một kia đồ lợi mà lợi thì bù cả cho lan lụa và mua đây mua chợ thì mua cho một mỏ đó nè kia lên tận này cho nhiều chỉ họ nói giờ chắc chạy chia tại luôn trong Minneapolis nhiều có ta lũ lì thâu lọ là chỉ ta là cho nó họ xứ nhau luôn trong Minneapolis giờ thì có và mua cái sự sáng tạo thì có chỉ bao nhiêu một thì họ đầu tư xa cam mò này xa chuột thì tại tụi cam mò COVID của chúa này nè họ cái này hồ sơ thông tôi của là tàu giờ thì này cho nhiều chỉ này chỉ bao lúa chỉ của tụi sơ thông bắt đầu của thứ hai là trâu y o b o xa o y b sun trâu y o b o xa o y b sun này hồ tôi của ấy cũng mà muốn này thò một trâu cho phong y b họ lưu cái nhau luôn trong Minneapolis hay tiền nhau họ tiêu chuẩn này một ít lệ của chuyện thảm mình gì tiền là convention center nó dùng nhà đó nè khi lên tới đó này cho nhiều gì thì ưu tiên thảm mình gì nó cho họ tụi cam mò COVID của chúa nó là do hay tiền có tiền nút từ có bỏ từ tiền ô giờ dùng nòng lô dùng tàu chuột tàu pa lô dùng đi dùng gắn mò y chè dùng tiếng gai là mò để bắt xa là mò dùng tàu hồ或者只那那只了只干这里了只猪啊这里了那mòจะได้mò我干呢了要点了浪猪天我把只刀龙炖多就找ปลา那些就那要一叫 symptoms 了要一叫 kia 到个点 tây dầu có mua tụ cam món rồi ấy cái chủ động một cua sẽ có mua tụ cam món nó ấy có một cua ta cái bao thì có mua rồi lâu nó là có thể li bao thì thấy cái tụ khen thia thì thấy cho nên có lú lời ấy có sắp trâu rồi lời thì có chuyện năng sẽ đợi nữa nè và ta có thải thì nhớ trong Minneapolis theo nhớ rồi lúc trong Minneapolis mua lú ở Minneapolis Convention Center họ lú state Minnesota là lú sinh Minnesota nó lú Minneapolis Convention Center này giờ ít họ chờ đó nên một cua nên tụi cá mò rồi nè chờ nhau giờ e based on e cho cái Second Avenue South e based on e Second Avenue South giờ Minneapolis Convention Center và giờ thì luôn trong Minneapolis lúc Convention Center nó khi lên đó này Monday một trong đó Friday thảo cầu ít tăng sinh gió một trong trâu tăng trong tu cho lấy khi họ nên một cua nào mà này cua đau sư đó nè rồi hai tiền nên mua và bắt cầm牌thì chỉ mua nên mua insurance thì chỉ mua là nên mua giờ thì cho nên chỉ mua in ra sư in ra thì chỉ mua là một tí thái này này tao thể này chỉ mua nhiều thể là lúc sáng Minnesota mà ba thể này cho cái một cua tụi cam mò nó khi lên đó này cho nhiều chỉ ta lên đó ta chỉ nó chắc chắn là tao nó chú trọng phứ như là Washington là giờ federal government nếu cô và mua trái chia cho nên cho nhiều chỉ biết sự đó là một order là giờ là cho một và chọn đông tới gọi là sa cho kit nữa sa cho kit test kit là giờ cho và có tụ kinh sẽ có bộ môn tụ cam mò COVID của chuột nó ấy giờ thì này và từ sa order là tao nó cho chúa chỉ nên nhớ đó lúcที่มีการnó nhưng một phần chuột một order là giờ thì một gọi là saตัวlà sa block call xí là sa chat block call là chỉ saเลยนะ khi lên đó này giờ thì từ này order lâu gọi là saตัวnó chỉ là chủ yếu là xa nu một đồ cổ nu mà mình thì tuột sọt cho nó giờ cho và lâu hoặc thì rapid testing nó nè mình sẽ sai khi đó có thì có một tụ cam mò thì chỉ mua li bây giờ là thì nó sẽ chỉ khi đó có là giờ có sa bảo cho thì có sa một order nó chỉ nhớ là họ website nhớ họ online là nhớ họ computer họ covid test.gov đó nè COVID-tests.gov họ nói vậy họ này yêu chuột tao mu cho nên我个真这天做学教都干嘛他冇咯，有我就到抽到就抽正好律师，那么做学都干嘛可以个做那偏点，所以说都有做到么杀错了差错，地台都干嘛可以个做那你天里要把到错了错都，那黑人到那叫牛子，个那叫知道么差都。ชั่วกามอดีไทยตัวกามอนั่นหรอนี่ชิดชนชายเนี่ยมูกูแค่สิกูที่ชาเป้กงเลยจังจีเรากงฟลูชาที่กูที่ไอ้ตัวลัวไอ้เคลินเนี่ยน่าจะเนี่ยจะเอาเหนียวจีนะไอ้ยาเดี๋ยวนี้พอจังชายละชิดชนชายกับชิมูชัดชั่วนะเนี่ยมูเราเขาmn.gov mn.gov ไอ้เนี่ยมูเนี่ยเราเขาคลิกให้เดี๋ยว COVID ก็ช่วย information นะเนี่ยจะตู้ใส่ลัวเลยจะให้ป้อนลัวคิดที่นี่จะใช้คอมพิวเตอร์เดี๋ยวเนี่ยมูเราเขาออนไลน์นะไอ้เนี่ยมู open ของเว็บไซต์หน่อยเนี่ยที่เรามูเชียร์เต้าขอเลยเพียเดียวเนี่ยขอ vaccine locator เนี่ยเขาตื้อเดียวเนี่ยมัวอะไรแม่เพียร์เนี่ยเดี๋ยวเนี่ยเขาตื้อเจนตรงเนี่ยเขาเนี่ยมูว่าชัดชัวร์ถูกการมองที่ไทยถูกการมองโควิดก็ช่วยชิตาลินดาเคลียร์เนี่ยเดี๋ยว Center for Disease Control เลย CDC แต่ชินอแล้วต่อให้เดียวแล้วสาก็ชัวร์ตัวมีอยู่อ่ะจะจำเป็นยังจีส่ง的时候有主动冇ชัดชัวร์ที่ไทยถูกการมองโควิดก็ช่วยเนาะแต่ชินอรู้สึกมันสตาแล้ว有冇$1 gift cards 就真能我来叫来叫没有啊จีส่ง我就够一ส่ง叫冇ชัดชัวร์ก็เดี๋ยวจีบุตรเขาลูกออฟลีนะเคลียร์ตัวนี้จะเอาเหนียวจีจะมีอยู่เนี่ยเขารู้มันรู้สึกมันสตาร์ชิชงมันตัวเก่าอีชงจีนี่ยังมัวฝังจั่วมูชัดกงชัวที่ไทยตัวการมอโควิดก็จั่วเนาะถ้าเธอกงที่有主要ย้อนดุนด้านแต่ลูกอีหลีดีวันที่อีหมดซอลูกออฟลีดีวันที่นังเก่าอีนะเคลียร์ตัวนี้registration เราจะได้เกี่ยวกับจอมเบย์ตัวจะ gift card borderline gift card นะนี่อยู่ละโมเก่าเลยเดี๋ยวอยู่ชิมัวเลยต่อตาถูกเก่าอีตั้งชี้จะจ่อฟังจองดูนูตีนังเก่าอีลูกออฟลีนะเคลียร์เลยแต่ตอนนี้จะเอาเนี่ยจีไอ้เจ้าเนี่ยที่จะจีในมัวนี่จะมีตู้มีอยู่ชี้ชงมันจะเก่าอีชงทอกันนี่สาจ้าเดี๋ยวขอหมดชัดชั่วติดไทยตุกามอนอหนึ่งย่อยเขาป้าตัวเลยจงเหงไอ้เจ้าเนี่ยแต่เจนี่จะเอาเนี่ยจีเนี่ยต่อมูชิตาลินได้จะคือที่นั่งจ้าชะดาวว่า nè từ một xã ở công chúa là nè nè công chúa thì bé hoặc booster shot nó nè giờ ít khó hoặc gì lúc rõ đâu hoặc cho chúa thì thái có tụ cam mò COVID của chúa đó nè khi lên tại chỗ này giờ thì nè một công chúa là thì thái thiên gì cho lúc rõ thì thái nè hoặc tụ cam mò nó nè hai giờ有用你这里有去我摸摸老都有做干嘛了？天气到么红毛，给不老多了，天气摸当到天气大领导了，和 boost 山了嘛，你绕行了么？操个路上绕，一个贴着你要你自己呢，你操，叫路罗里贝里不打不对他了，不对我擦工 boost 山的事了呢，贴领导这点，他操工个擦 Moderna 了到。Pfizer 啦，到 Johnson 啦，到公体杯啦，要點講話 booster shot 啦，你應去操你，你主要冇巴士。倫中 Minneapolis 整末和作在個時的要做到弄很久很久，那咧大本很久很久。nhớ đâu tàu lông trong Minneapolis cho chơi lan lụa thì cho chơi quần là mình space sành tua mù nhỏ tua mù xí nề chủ tàu lông đó là nề chủ tàu lông luôn mà còn cho hoàn chữ mà lại thế là bù nên cả giờ thì nề chỉ lông là gì thế mà lại chỉ bù nên cả đó là khi lên đến giờ uống nhiều gì cú bỏ biết trong thông sẽ là ít giờ nên lông này mà còn cho hoàn chữ nên lông bao nên còn giao xứ nữa hoàn chữ thì chỉ lông thì chỉ bỏ thì còn nó nề chuẩn bỏ nên lúc hoàn chữ thì còn giao cái xí ấy thì chỉ được cam mò nó đây lông bao còn giao hoàn chữ tạo cho đầu sát chua đi thái tụ cam mò COVID của chua nó thì lại họ booster shot này ba đầu ya cho nên chỉ cái tên trả hay số lượng số tụ cái chỉ cho tụ cam mò giờ thì cái muốn nó rau nó mò nhau không giờ chơi lan lụa mua rau mua mò lo mua sai những nhà kia rồi họ chơi lo có muốn cái rồi chơi cần tại lo mua cho recreational facility cho chơi washi lo nó chỉ mua lo cho han one bar hậu đây hậu chơi lo là ý dạng cầu lý nè họ cho là chữ là lụa là cho chạy này thọ cái này sẽ là này chủ ở trợ lý Centers for Disease Control and Prevention CDC tàu tặng chế là cho guideline nè cho nó cho lo một tí thái cả biết sẽ đợi chỉ số một cái mò sẽ đợi thì chỉ plot tua sẽ đợi thì chỉ nhau share dù thế này nhau nhá xanh nó cho lũ lúc nào cũng học tua được số khối cho nó tua chặt tạo bút đầu bê trong cái nhà chỉ có tên trà nhớ tạo lớn trong Minneapolis cho là sầu rồi nó thế cho lũ nó ít cho là cho trong là bút sĩ tạo sân đầu thế giờ thì nên cho nhiều chỉ nên một cái tin nhớ lớn trong Minneapolis là chỉ tao hỏi nên nó sẽ là nên họ mục tiêu rồi lời thế cú tôi sẽ tông được đùa ta có thể thả lời giờ trâu y o b o xa o y b xuân trâu y o b o xa o y b xuân nên một cái sự sinh chỉ tao ra chỉ hay cho lớn trong Minneapolis cái chuột chùa lòng đền nó chứ cái ba chuột đó là mấy cái sinh cho cái nó hậu cho cái tu chân sự cho cái mù lo ít bùa trái ya giờ thì họ tự chỉ tao nên họ chỉ tại loạn kít nên hù được cú là tao họ giờ thì nên hù đâu tao luôn trong Minneapolis là tao tụi nên tao plau ý cho nên thì nên hay lục mong nó sẽ trả lại những chuyện muốn nên tí to mù là giờ nên muốn cho một họ đâu ít tụi nên sẽ hay lục mong khi lên tại đó nên cho nhiều chỉ lúc xưa là sau đi nó lại cái gene trong đi nó thao cái sự đơn chỉ cái nó cái giống thì chỉ số một món chỉ số một gần giống xưa gene giống nó thì là giống cái đó là sinh chỉ rồi thì tin chắc